My game is called Doggy Don't Care. It's my second commercial release. Before Doggy Don't Care, I released a mobile game called Swoopy Boy, which was where you're an Australian magpie swooping people walking down the street. That game was a kind of a test for myself. It took me about 4 months to finish, just to prove to myself that I could make a game. And then after seeing that off in 2020, I found myself now on my second game, and it's going really well. Doggy Don't Care is about a dog left at home alone, and he's getting up to mischief. So the humans have gone, and he's left at home with his feathered friend, Rocco. And Rocco convinces him or encourages him to get up to naughty things by awarding him with mischievous badges. So the player is left to explore the environment and see what mess they can make and what interactivity is available to them. And it's all about just having fun, exploring, getting up to mischief, letting your day behind you, and just being a dog for, half an hour, as long as you want to play, and see where that takes the player. So this game it's kind of like Untitled Goose Game mixed with Banjo-Kazooie. You've got the naughtiness and the mischief and the task-orientated gameplay from Untitled Goose Game. And you've got the exploration, the collectathon, and the cheeky humor and dialogue coming through the characters from Banjo-Kazooie. And it's a game that I'm really excited about building, and I'm having fun playing it myself. Often when I'm supposed to be working on it, I'm still just running around doing stuff that I've done like 100 million times, and I'm still having fun. Like peeing on the vacuum cleaner is one of the things that electrocutes you, and it's just like, I did the animation and everything. I just think it's hilarious, and I'm always peeing on the vacuum cleaner. I'm like, freaking, I need to build this game. I need to stop playing it and keep making it. As I mentioned, I was working on Swoopy Boy, which was an animal game as well. So I think I'm kind of drawn to animals, and apparently naughty animals. I think they're a good channel to unlock your naughtiness inside without having to express it through a human form. But I was actually working on a game before this, which I had codenamed Soul. So in between Swoopy Boy and this game, which was a human-based game, and it was about grief. Because my brother died in 2019. So a way I was processing that was by building this game about grief, and I was putting myself into this game. It was going really well. I worked on it for about a year, but then it became a bit too much. I was too deep, it was too heavy. So I decided to transition into a different game and go more colorful, more exciting, more happy, more stupid. So I went down the animal route again. And during COVID and after, as I was grieving, one of the games I loved was Untitled Goose Game. And that game meant a lot to me. And when I was in that state, I was looking for another game like Untitled Goose Game. I was like, there's got to be more games like that, because that game was awesome. It was really simple, really easy to pick up. You could play it for 10 minutes or you could play it for an hour. And I was like, I want another game like that, and I couldn't find one. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to make it, and I'm going to make it a dog. And then because I was actually getting a dog, like me and my wife were adopting a dog at the time, so I had dogs on my mind. As I mentioned, we were adopting a dog at the time that I started the game. So we live in an apartment, and we hadn't had a dog before in our marriage or in our relationship. We both had dogs in our family homes. But I was a bit worried about getting a dog in an apartment, because I was like, oh, he's going to bark and annoy the neighbors. He's going to pee everywhere. He's going to tear up. If he tears up your parents' cushion, like, who cares, right? You don't have to buy it again. But now that it's my cushion, I'm like, no, I don't want a dog, because he's going to tear up the cushion, and then I'm going to have to buy another cushion, and then he's going to tear up that one. I'm going to spend $1 million in cushions, and it's just going to wreak havoc on the house. So I was all anxious about that. So that inspired me to. But having said that, we were always going to get a dog at some point. So I was like, you know what? Let's just get the dog. This is a good time to get it. And I'm just going to channel all that anxiety and fear into making this game about a dog getting up to mischief. And then anytime that Charlie would get up to mischief, I can just use that as inspiration for another objective in the game. So I decided to make a game inspired by Untitled Goose Game as a dog, and to make it a little bit more unique and different to Untitled Goose Game, I decided to make a bit more of an adventure game as well. So I pulled in the elements of Banjo-Kazooie as well, because I loved playing Banjo-Kazooie growing up. Yeah, it was fun, and like I said, it definitely took me out of the rut of thinking about all the grieving stuff that I was going through. I was finally thinking about something else, and having fun with the game for once. making a game. It was really good. Yeah. Well, back in school, back in high school, for my last year and for my year 12 project, I made a computer game on an old Macintosh, and I had no idea what I was doing, but I managed to make a knockoff of Duck Hunt, where it was like the ducks with the dog and everything. I used the same sprites and stuff, and it was like click the ducks before they fly off the screen instead of like shoot them. It was like click the ducks, and I made that and did really well, and I loved making the game. It was so cool, and I was like, this is so much fun. I would love to work for Rare or something one day, like who was making Banjo-Kazooie. So after that, I learned that I loved making games, and I was like, this is so cool. This would be so cool to be a job. But I didn't think it was a real thing. I didn't think I could actually do that for work. So when I left school, I went and did website development for 10 years. And then every time I went for a web development job, ironically, I would build a web-based computer game and take that to my interview and be like, look what I built using JavaScript. It's a game. And they'd be like, oh, wow, he can build a game. He can definitely build a website. And every job I got, I took a different game to the interview. Games have always been a part of like what I've been building. But it wasn't until my brother died that I was like, okay, life is short. Maybe I should take this gaming thing a bit more seriously. So I decided to leave website development after 10 years and work part-time in a non-technology and non-office environment. So I went and worked as a delivery driver in Amsterdam. We lived in Amsterdam for a year. Yeah, which was awesome. So it's out on the bike in the sun and the rain and the snow, which was just so different to being in an office, and I just loved it. And then we came back to Australia, and I got a job as a barista in a cafe, just like 4 minutes walk from my house, and it was like 2 or 3 days a week. I did that for 4 years, and the purpose of doing that job and that in that low stress environment and low pay was so I had mental energy and time to work on games on the days that I wasn't in the cafe, which worked out really well because that's when I built Superboy, and that's when COVID hit, which worked out pretty well for me because the government came in with some payments, which ended up paying me a little bit more than my low salary in the cafe, which worked out really well financially for us. And yeah, so that's got me to where I am today. And then this year has just been crazy. Since last year at South by Southwest was the first year I showed Doggy Don't Care in the public setting at a festival, and I kind of got hooked on the idea because before that I was a bit like worried about showing people my game. I was like, I don't know if it's good enough, I don't know what people think. Took it to South by Southwest, showed people loved it, and then I started putting on online festivals, and it's just been taken off. And since then I have built a bit of confidence to the point where I was like, okay, I'm going to do this full time now. I want to quit my part-time job. Let's go all in on this. And that's what I did this year. And while I was doing that, I was applying for government grants, Screen New South Wales and Screen Australia. I applied for Screen Australia once and was denied, but I got some feedback. And then I applied again. And then while I was waiting to hear back about that, I decided to go all in on Doggy Don't Care. So I was like, I believe in this project. I can see it finished in my mind. It's going to be good. I can only make it as good as I want it to be if I work full time on it. So I jumped in, went full time, and then a couple months later, I got the email from Screen Australia saying I got the funding as well. So I was able to go full time, and I've managed to get a full time salary for a year. So pressure's on, basically. But that's been my journey. So it's been crazy, and when I look back, I feel like everything's been adding up to where I am. And at some point in the history there, I went to university and did a business degree, which also has helped. Yeah, so it's been a crazy journey, but it's been I don't think unlike other game developers, but yeah, I got funding from Screen New South Wales and Screen Australia. So the first leg of the project since the funding has been to polish the demo, fix all the critical bugs, because like sometimes when the game's been played on various content creators, I think Backpocket played it live, and they came across one of the only game-breaking bugs on live gameplay. So things like that have been pretty urgent to fix. And then I've got people on board to help me. So like the poster behind me has been illustrated by a mate of mine who's come on board as a contractor. So I've been revamping all the assets, all the UI in the game is being revamped. The game is starting to look how I envisioned it, which is like amazing. I'm so happy. And then I am currently working on the new levels. So the last year nearly 2 years has been focusing on the house level. I've honestly been milking that level for all it's worth in terms of putting it on social media and that. But now I've reached the point where I'm like, okay, I need to show people the other levels. So I got a new farm level that I'm starting to show, and then there's like a museum, an office, and a carnival or a theme park. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got so much work to do. Like, I'm so excited to do it, but oh my gosh, help. Like, I will not allow myself I tell myself I will not allow myself to take longer than next year. So I'll be out next year. Yeah. The second half of next year. Yeah.
What's your go-to caffeinated beverage when working on the game?
Let me think. It's coffee. So this is my third coffee today, and I'm obsessed with latte art. So I've got a machine at home, and I like to do latte art every morning and try and keep up that skill. So I'm always making coffee.